turbo upgrade, or swapping to a turbocharged motor like I have in this 2003-4 PT Cruiser, the non-turbocharged original bumper will not fit because of the intercooler. Because of that, I wanted to find some solution, either a turbocharged bumper, which I did look for, or something else if that wasn't possible. So what I found was you can get turbocharged bumpers for the 2001 to 2005 PT Cruisers, but they're getting pretty rare and pretty expensive, or if you do find them like at a junkyard, they're probably not in very good condition. And over months of looking, and I've even been still looking, even after I installed this KBD bumper, they're just not, you can hardly find them out there unless you want to spend a lot of money online somewhere, eBay or wherever. So for almost the same amount of money, I found the KBD bumper and side runners, found that website. So that's what you're going to see is the installation, the prep and paint and fitment of the KBD bumper. So that's why I got it, is because the original bumper that I had wouldn't fit. I had to cut because I couldn't get a turbocharged bumper even just to use as use for anything. I had to cut out the section of the bumper where the intercooler sticks out, and I didn't want to just keep it like that. Of course, it was it didn't look very good. Even though I have seen some people, because of the airflow and the cooling aspect, will cut out that section in front of the intercooler just for cooling. So I cut it out so that I could put the bumper on, and then was looking for something. The KBD bumper fits over either the non-turbocharged or turbocharged bumper. Has the section also kind of cut out for the intercooler airflow, and then it has its whole look, of course. The KBD bumper is polyurethane, so it's made from a mold, and some of their stuff comes with tabs and pre-drilled indentations, but for the stuff that I received for the PT Cruiser from KBD, there were some tabs, but nothing, I didn't have any indentations or anything pre-drilled. So I just had to figure out where holes were needed, where to drill to get it mounted properly. How does it arrive? Just for awareness. So they ship it, all of the parts, the front bumper and the side runners came in one box. Pretty small, actually, you know. I'll share a picture of it, but the way they fit it in there is they roll it up. This polyurethane stuff is pretty bendy. Even after it unravels and takes shape, it's not hard plastic. It's not you know, really stiff at all, and you can maneuver it. And the way you unbox it or get it into the shape it needs to be in is heat. So I left the stuff out in the sun for 2 or 3 days, and that helped it unfold, unroll, take shape. You can also use a blow dryer, a heat gun, a painter's heat booth, a couple different ways. You can apply some heat to it. It will, just as a heads up, from what I've read on KBD, if you use a blow dryer or a heat gun, it really retains heat for a period of, you know, a couple minutes or something. So just don't burn yourself. It'll get really hot. Let's see. The KBD website has a lot of stuff in the FAQ section, which I did not look into, and I should have when I first got this stuff. So big recommendation is check out the FAQ section on the KBD website. Look through it thoroughly. It'll tell you how to prep for, how to do all the things that I'm saying, to prep for paint, to how to clean it, all the stuff. So check that out. It's it's pretty good, and it's a lot more than what you get with the product, which is initially all that I relied on was 2 sheets of paper that they sent with like how to prep it for paint and clean it. There's a lot more on their website with the FAQ. Speaking of prepping it and cleaning it, because the bumper, the KBD stuff is from a mold, you know, which they basically inject into a 2-piece system that then comes apart. You pull the mold out, but to pull the mold out, they have to put a product on it, a mold release, on the bumpers and the side runners, and they ship it to you with that stuff still on there. They don't clean it, so you got to clean it, or else tape, even really strong 3M double-sided tape, won't stick to it inside or out. Paint won't stick to it unless you're not wanting to do any paint and you just want to use them in the black color that they come as. You need to clean them really well, and there's a process to that. Sort of a 3-step. You wipe it down with acetone, then you use Ajax in a scuff pad, then you acetone it again, and sometimes you do that multiple times until it gets to the state that it needs to be or that you want for applying the paint. Here's the acetone I used. Got this stuff just on Amazon, and Ajax. I mean, this is just plain old Ajax cleaner. The scuff pad I used is what was recommended on by KBD. It is an Unita P100400 maroon coarse scuff pad. Make sure you wash both the outside and the inside if you're going to do this. I didn't wash the inside at first, and what I learned when I was painting and prior to wanting to put the 3M tape on it, that mold release material is on the inside, and it you know, like I said, the tape won't stick. So that was even a pain in the butt when I was trying to paint it, because when I tried to tape it off, sometimes you want your tape to fold around onto the inside and it would just come right off, which you know, that can make paint a nightmare and make a real mess. So clean it, do the acetone, Ajax acetone, inside and out before you go and start doing painting. I was really happy with the way the paint turned out in the end. I'm not a pro. I'm just doing this because I want to do it myself, and I'm happy with how it's coming out. It's cheaper than paying somebody else, and I like the experience of it. The end product turned out, I was really happy with it, and promptly, like the first time I drove it and took it out, bumped the bumper. I was parking and bumped it into the curb. It's a real bummer because it's already scratched, you know. What can you do, you know? But that's kind of what I've come to accept. That's going to happen. It's not going to be pristine. It's not a show car. So whatever footage I share, you know, it's already seen some scratches and has some wear and tear on it already. So, you know, it is what it is. I kind of accept that aspect. I'm saying that because the bumper does stick out more further out the front and is lower to the ground. So I'm very accustomed to driving on PT and have the feel for how far the front sticks out, and so what I need to do to pull into a parking space and everything like that. This changed that. The KBD bumper has, you know, I have to relearn just how close I can get to something and how big of bumps I need to worry about on the street. Stock with the, you know, factory bumper wasn't really an issue. The PT is usually high enough off the ground not to worry about most bumps and stuff like that, but this one I do have to be wary of speed bumps in garages or on, you know, slower streets that have those that can scrape on the KBD bumper. Gonna have to paint it, and before you paint it, you have to wipe it down with acetone, then clean it with Ajax bleach powder, wipe it down with acetone again, and using a scuff pad. There's a process. I'll share that. And next will be time to paint. So a little bit more about the bumper though, this KBD bumper. I wasn't quite sure how it was going to fit on the original bumper. It literally is a cover. It just goes over the top of it. So if you can see, it slides over the front. Here's the original bumper. When I spoke with KBD, they said you use all the original mount points and bolts and screws to do it, to get it, to put it together. Now, and you can, what I noticed is that you can keep your original fog lights in it if your PT has fog lights, and they do peek through the opening here. It's not the entire lens. It actually cuts some of it off, but it lets the bulb actually shine through. So you can use the original fog lights, but then you have these 5.5 inch openings for new fog lights that will fit into the KBD bumper cover. And what I got was a set of these Auxbeam, or maybe they're 5 inch, but anyway, this says they're 5 inch. So these Auxbeam V Ultra series, they do amber outlines, bright yellow. I wanted the yellow for better actual fog light performance in the right weather conditions. They also do white, so you get a couple different colors. Most importantly, the yellow. So what I got to do is still paint the KBD stuff. It's all been prepped and ready for paint. Once it's painted, I can mount it onto the car, and other than, for the bumper, other than using the original bolts and whatnot, you're just supposed to use the 3M double-sided auto tape. Same with the side, whatever you call those things, the side runners that go along the rocker panels. So I got a lot of 3M tape. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably put some bolts or screws on either side, where they come up on the inside of the wheel well, both front and the back. Before I can mount up the bumper, though, I got to do the wiring for these new fog lights. It's pretty neat here. So you got your two connections like so that are going to run to the fog lights, and they give you plenty of length to run that, to those. You also have a relay. Okay, so you're going to have your positive and negative. I'll connect that directly to the battery. It's kind of like a car stereo, or like the cooling fans that I have set up. Same kind of wiring there. So it has an additional relay, battery, ground it, and then I will need to run the circuit that goes inside the car. Sorry, not the circuit, the wires with the controls. It's got on and off for two different modes. Really, it's probably like outline versus yellow versus white. So I got to run that inside the car. And I was thinking about this because the connection is kind of big on both sides. It's either the buttons or that one, and I've just gone through the firewall with so much wire already for the gauges, the cooling fan control. So what I might have to do to squeeze this through that bunch is take off this plastic thing here. So as I was saying, just another view of this wiring. Here's the connection for the fog light itself, and there's two of those that I'll need to run down from the engine compartment to the bumper, where, you know, those 5-inch fog lights are very close to where the original fog lights are, and you can see there how the bulb will actually shine through on the original ones. But we'll get these 5-inch ones hooked up, just to thin out the wire that has to go through the firewall. I might have to cut this so it's thinner and I can feed it through the firewall. I have to think about that, but I'll figure that out and figure out where to mount this on the inside, the controls for these fog lights that don't want to focus. About that. Oh my gosh. There. Okay. Like that. Okay. And then just to see how the KBD bumper really fits pretty dang well right over the top of the original. And once I add in the 3M you know, heavy duty tape, the double-sided tape, and once got the hardware installed, and I'm going to upgrade the original bolts as well, these 3 that go along here. You can see what's going to happen is I'll have to drill a hole through the KBD so that the bolt can go right into the little clip, which is still on the original bumper part. Okay, here we are under the dash, and right where I'm gonna have to feed the wire for those fog lights through. You can see how I've got so much coming through. If I had a manual PT, this would be the spot for the clutch, which I've always kind of liked having the automatic and having that. If you remove the plug that's there, there's normally 2 bolts that go through kind of onto a welded plate. You can remove that and have a great spot for running wires through if you have an automatic. So I'm noticing I have these open holes where the bolts used to go, and that's pretty much a perfect size to fit the wire through for the fog lights. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. There's really not any other spot unless I drill a hole, which I don't want to do. Trick is definitely about making this skinny enough to fit through the bolt hole. So that's what I'm trying to do here.
you can see where I have the switch for the wheel well and grill LEDs right here. I want to put this switch for these fog lights, I think, right next to it, and I want to do it here because this is a part of the dash that does not come off like, you know, other pieces. This is just static, stays there. So if I need to remove things, I won't have like this piece stuck to it, and it puts it kind of out of the way. So I gotta figure out how I wanna. I think I wanna do it like that. No, it have to be like this. And the wire would go up into this little panel, just like this one is. Yeah. So that's the question. So that's why I got to take this end off, because oh wait, will it fit? Oh my gosh! Ha ha! Fit right up in there.
Okay, it's been 2 days since I sprayed the primer coat on the KBD bumper and side rails. And what I want to do is use some real fine grit sandpaper to see if I can get rid of the spills that I did. I'm not sure if this will be captured well on film, but I'll try and hopefully show in the light if this is on it, but there's some right there. And actually they did a good job of going down or blending in a little bit on their own, which the product said that it would, but these are pretty large spills, so as I was afraid of, they didn't totally go away. And I'm gonna try sanding. I have 1000 grit sandpaper to start with. If the 1000 grit ends up scratching it too much, and I need to spray another coat of the Polyvance primer, so be it. I'll have to get another can. Did want to say though that 1 quart of the Polyvance stuff let me get the bumper and both sides side rails about 3 coats each. I was impressed. I was getting worried. It even felt light in the canister that it wasn't going to make it, but yeah, I got about 3 coats on it, so it's all I needed, 1 quart. The instructions on the KBD products when they came said that it was actually going to take a complete full sanding after spraying the Polyvance with 400 grit, but the product itself, the Polyvance primer, when you read that, it actually says it doesn't need any sanding. The product shouldn't need it. And honestly, if I hadn't have spilled, I wouldn't be sanding anything at all, because it really does look ready for a coat of paint. It did a really good job. So just a note. $1,000 grit seems to be doing plenty, so 400 grit I think really would have scuffed it bad, or maybe even gone down to the unprimed surface. So yeah, start lighter, be safer. Start with less grit. Honestly, I probably will do another coat anyway, because I'm just worried about the texture difference between where I've sanded, which is now pretty smooth, and there's a slight bumpy texture to the non-sanded sections, and I really wouldn't want that to come through on the paint and have this big, you know, section standing out here. That's pretty dang smooth. So 1000 grit worked just fine to get rid of the spills and those bumps. And I think just another coat of the Polyvance primer will just even it out real good. Shit, see? It's getting through to the black undercoating. So I'm doing too hard, but another coat for sure. All right, we've had a bit of a rainy spell for a few days, about a week, and I had to order more paint and the Polyvance primer. Everything's arrived. The weather has gotten to a temperature that'll be good for paint drying, so we're going to do the second coat of the Polyvance primer on the bumper and maybe the side runners if they need it. I didn't have to sand those, so maybe they're fine. Then we're going to let that dry overnight, and tomorrow, actually all through this coming weekend, the next few days, the weather should be good enough, and I have the paint should arrive tomorrow to add the color. So we'll do that as long as it does and everything works out in our favor. So here we go. Alright, so first I give it a wipe down with anti-static lint-free rag, you know, to help just get all the particles up off of it and not leave any remnants behind. I noticed even the cloth I was using with the acetone left behind some little you know, fibers and whatnot, so I'm hoping when I use the tacky rag, tack cloth, that'll pick that up. I'm just gonna use Eastwood paint. That's just kind of the route I headed down, was Eastwood. So all the paint, clear coat, cleaner, all that kind of stuff is Eastwood for me. Just stick with what I know and what I know works. Alright, so here we got our tacky cloth. Let's see if it gets those fibers from the first cloth. Not. It's getting some of them, but not as much as I had hoped. Well, here's hoping that the next coat of primer will cover that up. I'm going to do the lime green first because it can be more messy and it'll be out of a can. Then I figure I can make the lines straighter with the black. painting machine, I got this caliper paint to do the calipers, and I just kind of had some extra and went to town. So I ended up painting a lot more underneath the car. If you've watched the other videos, you've seen like the rear axle, the front steering cross member, steering and suspension cross member, also called the K-frame. I painted that the same thing. I've done that on several PTs. So I'm just going to continue with that using the same color. It is a spray can, as you can see, but it came with this, you know, handy little clip-on lever, I guess, to help with the direction and spraying and not get it on your skin. Make you feel like you have, you know, an air compressor spray gun. This stuff is very toxic. Well, any paint is, and you should have a mask on for it, but this stuff is particularly not good to breathe in, so that's another reason I'm wearing a mask. Because this one here, it contains isocyanates. I don't know what that is, but it says protective mask must be worn when spraying from aerosol can. So more toxic than your usual spray can. I'm going to do it. Now what you have to do to mix the two ingredients in here is pop off this little red piece that goes on the bottom, and you push it in and it releases. I'm trying to figure out what it is it releases. Anyway, there's two ingredients in here, and you pop this little nozzle, not a nozzle, but a you know, a little lever thing on the bottom with this red piece. It releases the you know, the mixture, so it is mixing together and becomes ready to spray. So we'll do that. Okay, got some released. And this stuff, you pretty much have to use the whole can. When you open it and start using it, it hardens and the nozzle goes bad. If you let it sit for a day or two, it dries out. So if you're going to use this, be prepared to use up the whole can, otherwise you're going to waste it, and this stuff is not cheap. the next day, and this morning I checked on the paint. The green had dried enough. I took off the tape and did the inverse of the taping, so now the green spots are taped up, ready to put on the black, and I think the clear coat after that. Before I do the second coat, and we're waiting for that first coat to dry. So this is single stage urethane paint from Eastwood. This is the Rat Rod Satin Black. It's a 3-to-1 mixture with the activator, so it's a 96 ounce can. You just put in it's a 3-to-1 in the amount they send you for the activator. Fills up the can to 1 quart, so you get basically a quart of paint. That's looking really good. I'm gonna have plenty to do multiple coats on this. 10 minutes between coats. You want to do 2 to 3 minimum, and I have the clear coat as well. It's a 4-to-1, but they sent me a 3-to-1 activator. I'm just going to try it because otherwise you have to wait. It's like 5 days to get another can shipped. So I'm just going to risk it and try it. I read a little bit about, 2-to-1s, 3-to-1s, 4-to-1s, what's the risk and everything. It sounds like if I use a 3-to-1 when it calls for a 4-to-1, it will dry slower with a 3-to-1, but will be harder in the long run. So it's 3-to-1 instead of 4-to-1. For the activator, gotta go with what I got. I'm probably gonna wait to do the clear coat till tomorrow because I would like to do it over the entire set of parts, including the green, so that it's all clear coated the same. Actually, maybe not. No, because it's like it's not a super glossy clear coat, and the green, the lime green, which is that Caliper paint, out of the spray can, that's super glossy, and so I don't want the clear coat to mess that up. So I'll be doing it tonight then. So I'll do a few more coats of the black, use up the can, whatever I can, and then wait probably about an hour, give or take. I've seen anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour for waiting for the base coat to dry enough to be able to apply your clear coat. So that's what's going on. I'm gonna get the second coat ready.
Hey there. So it is time to do the fog lights in this KBD bumper. And as you can see, with this KBD bumper, all that you have to mount, and this is a 5-inch fog light, is this little tab. But that should work because, at least on the one I got, the fog light mount, this bracket should fit right on there. It looks pretty dang good, like a good fit. Okay, just got to get it centered, drill a hole, put the bolt through, secure that. The light will go in here. I already got all the wiring done. Once I have these fog lights on, then it's time to actually mount, install and mount these KBD parts on the PT. This is the last thing. Holy crap. Okay, so what I found when I was painting is the inside of here, just like the outside, it's really important that you do the process that KBD says to prep this surface, and here's why. So you do it on the outside, of course, for painting. You have to use acetone as step one.
Ajax and water and you wash it off is step 2. And then you acetone again, then it's ready to paint. So I did all that on the outside, and when I was doing that while taping things off, I noticed that the inside was just as bad, and tape wouldn't even hold. Like, it would just come right off because of the whatever the material and stuff that was on the KBD stuff. So I went ahead and I did the acetone and the Ajax. I might do one more acetone just to make sure the surface will let tape, specifically double-sided tape, the 3M stuff that's super strong for automotive use. I want to make sure that that will stick to this as well as the original bumper, because that's how you mount this. Is it fits on like a glove, you know, it's a good cover. The original bumper will go right along this channel here, and this will fit right on it, but the only way it sticks to it is going to be like the double-sided tape, and then the same original mount points that you would do the bolts into. significant amount of weight to the bumper. Interesting. Okay. So now I got to figure out where to put the tape. Where to put the double-sided tape. as you saw, we did the 3M double-sided tape. It's tricky to squish it in there, but I think I got it. But now, for the sides where the wheel well cowls secure to the bumper and hold it, that is also supposed to be what secures the KBD cover to the bumper. So what I'm going to do is upgrade the those clips and bolts that go in there. Originally they're 7mm and they're pretty tiny. So I'm going to upgrade to these 10mm slightly thicker bolt with a larger clip. This larger clip is actually going to let me go over. Do I want to go over both? Yes, it'll let me go over both the original bumper plus the KBD cover, just for added tightness and security. So I just got to drill a hole big enough through the KBD cover. Temporary. I'll need to take these off again so the wheel well cowl can lay up against here, and the bolt will pass through that. Doing it this way is really snugging those together well. So I imagine that the original intention is that you use this is what KBD said, is you use the original hardware and everything. So if that were the case, and you kept those original clips, these smaller ones, where they were, here I'm upgrading to these big guys. This would not fit over the top of the KBD cover. They would go on the back side of it. So all you would have is the bolt going through the KBD cover and into the clip on the back side, which would be enough probably, but I'm just saying with these bigger clips that let you squish the KBD and the original cover together, you're getting just more security, I believe. And then once we get it in place, I'll take the bolts out. The wheel well cowl will fit right there and those bolts will go back on. I don't know, it feels like it's going to be more secure.
still shine through. And what I tried to do is do the lime green in that stock fog light hole so it will really kind of glow and be present. I can see right now I was gonna try and put the original you know, the original grill that would go right here over the intercooler. I wanted to try and do that, but there's like no room. I don't know, maybe it's not a good idea. Well, a lot of guys will cut the grill off in front of the intercooler anyway because to make it colder, you know, to give more cooling to the intercooler. So maybe I'm doing that. Although I really did want to have that, you know, grill back in there. And I might be able to do just that section. Yeah, I could. I could do the green section. Because, you know, gotta have the lime green. How to attach it though, that's the thing. We're gonna do those new 10mm bolts there as well, because the clip is missing. Uh-oh. Where are they on? Guess I left it on. Oh, nifty. So going from 7 to 10 did not work, mainly because the length of the 10 is too short. I should have gotten something longer. So what I'm having to do is go to a 13 millimeter bolt, quite a lot larger, and I have to stretch out and do a bigger gap on the clip here for it to fit over all the layers of plastic now. The wheel well cowl, the new cover, and the original bumper. Okay, once I do all that, then it works.
sometimes it's really good to take a step away and come back to what you're working on, which is what I did, not by choice, but I did with this first Side-Runner add-on from KBD. So unfortunately, the KBD instructions don't go into detail as far as how you do the install. There's almost nothing. As a matter of fact, they go into greater detail about how to prep it for painting, which was great. That was fine. So what I found that I had to do and wanted to do was that the original wheel well cowl right here actually does get in the way of the KBD piece, which is supposed to be flush with the body, the fender, and the door right here. So originally, what I was told by KBD and what I was going off of is that there was no modification necessary for the original parts, and that the original bolts would secure this piece on. Well, come to find out, if you leave this original wheel well cowl on, the bottom part of it totally kicks out the KBD Side-Runner and leaves a big gap here, makes it not go flush underneath where it's supposed to. So that was inaccurate. And what I did, because I didn't just want to, you know, I had to cut it off. I cut off the original wheel well kind of along the form of the KBD add-on, and so it's like straight over the top of where the KBD piece goes on. And as you can see now, it's flush. This part of the KBD is flush up against the fender like it's supposed to be. Made the whole thing look better, align better. And I had to redo the bolt hole on this side of it. And I was able to use the 10mm bolts, the smaller, shorter ones, versus the 13mm, which were, you know, definitely large. So there we go. That's what you got to do if you want this thing to sit flush. Is cut the original wheel well cowl to have that part fit. So there's that. So I need to get that jack out of there. Yeah. Let's get the jack out of there.
So that's in place. So now we just got to do the 3M double-sided tape.
Really happy with the way the paint turned out in the end. I'm not a pro. I'm just doing this because I want to do it myself, and I'm happy with how it's coming out. It's cheaper than paying somebody else, and I like the experience of it. The end product turned out, I was really happy with it, and promptly, like the first time I drove it and took it out, bumped the bumper. I was parking and bumped it into the curb. It's a real bummer because it's already scratched, you know. What can you do, you know? But that's kind of what I've come to accept. That's going to happen. It's not going to be pristine. It's not a show car. So whatever footage I share, you know, it's already seen some scratches and has some wear and tear on it already. So, you know, it is what it is. I kind of accept that aspect. I'm saying that because the bumper does stick out more further out the front and is lower to the ground. So I'm very accustomed to driving on PT and have the feel for how far the front sticks out, and so what I need to do to pull into a parking space and everything like that. This changed that. The KBD bumper has, you know, I have to relearn just how close I can get to something and how big of bumps I need to worry about on the street. Stock with the, you know, factory bumper, wasn't really an issue. The PT is usually high enough off the ground not to worry about most bumps and stuff like that, but this one I do have to be wary of speed bumps in garages or on, you know, slower streets that have those that can scrape on the KBD bumper. That front bumper has already seen some dings and scrapes. Now, so have the side runners, so. I did want to mention that after installation, so you can even see these cracks here from where I had to drill and put this bolt in. But I was going to say that I added, and these are 2 tabs that come out from the KBD bumper on top of the original, and I added those bolts on as well because after the first drive with the bumper, when I hadn't done those bolts, one on either side of the grill here, I noticed that the bumper was kind of sliding away, wanting to come off of the original bumper, even though there's 3M tape all over the place. So added those on to secure that. And you can see where I took off the lower grill in front of the intercooler.